Hi, welcome to Ed Foodie. I want to do something today that I've struggled with my whole life, trying to make homemade baked beans. And they always seem like they turn out hard or crunchy. They just never get soft like you get the ones in the can. So I'm going to do a couple things a little different today, and hopefully they'll work out better for me. A lot of the recipes say, there's a quick soak method and then an overnight soak method. Well, I'm going to try to do a combination of the both. And what I did find out is you need to have those beans very soft before you put in all the ketchup and the molasses and all the sugar stuff, because that kind of protects the bean and it won't let it get any softer. So we're going to make sure these beans are soft before we add in all the other ingredients. So I've got a pound of dry, I'm using navy beans. I've rinsed them, cleared out any debris. I got water, plenty of water covering it. So what I'm going to do is a combination of a quick soak and an overnight soak. I'm going to turn my burner on, medium. I'm going to bring these to a boil, and then we're going to simmer for about an hour and let them sit overnight. And so tomorrow morning we'll finish up the recipe. The beans have been simmering for about an hour. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn this off. Tighten the lid, and we're going to let these soak overnight. Okay, so we got the beans soaked overnight, and I actually tested them, and I think they're going to be nice and soft. So this is going to hopefully work out really good. What I want to do is I'm going to get rid of this soaking water, pour them into a colander. So what I'm going to do, just as kind of a double precaution to make sure we got some nice soft baked beans, I'm going to pour these back in here. I'm going to cover them with water again, and I'm going to boil them for about another hour before we put them in the crock pot. Okay, so the beans have cooked for another hour, and I've tried them. They're very tender. I know this recipe is going to work really good. So the trick is to make sure they're tender now before you put all the sugar and the molasses and the ketchup and things like that in there. Okay, so we're draining. Oh, I meant to save some of that liquid. Too late now. I'm going to use a vegetable stock, but if we ran out of liquid while it was cooking in the crock pot, save like another cup of this liquid out of here that you could add later if you need it. All right, so now we're just going to pour it into the crock pot. Now we can add all the rest of the ingredients. This will be pretty quick. I've got them all ready to go. Like I said, I've got a cup of vegetable stock. You can use chicken stock, beef stock, or you can use the water that we just threw down the drain. I've got 1 cup of ketchup, a half a cup of brown sugar, a third of a cup of molasses. I love the flavor of green bell pepper, so I've got a half of a pepper that I've chopped, 1 chopped onion, 2 teaspoons of dried mustard, and then I like mine a little bit spicy, so I've got a half of a jalapeno that I've chopped and I've seeded and then I've chopped. This is of course optional. And I got a half a teaspoon of salt and about a quarter to a half a teaspoon of pepper. Now what I like to do, because I only use 2 teaspoons of dry mustard, I'm going to put just a big squirt of yellow mustard, because I like the flavor of yellow mustard. Now most recipes call for, you can put bacon in here or a ham bone. I didn't want bacon this time. I looked for a ham bone at the store and I couldn't find it, just the ham bone. So I'm going to try something different here. I'm sure it'll taste good. I found some smoked pork cut neck bones. I'm just going to put 2 of these in here just to add some flavor. I don't know how much meat's going to come off of those, but push those way down in there. That's basically it. Now we're going to put on the crock pot on low for 6 hours. Okay, and then I'll stir them every once in a while and give them a taste. Maybe in 3 hours, we'll see how they're coming along. I really think this is gonna work real good. Again, the key is to make sure your beans are already tender and soft before you put them in with all the sugary stuff. So we'll see you in 6 hours for dinner. Beans have cooked 6 hours on low in the crock pot. I also let them cool off a little bit. So let's dish up a bowl and we'll give it a taste. These look really nice. Okay, so let's try some of these baked beans. Wow, definitely the beans are tender. This is really a milestone for me. I haven't had good tender baked beans in a long time that I made. I use navy beans, whereas maybe normally I would use Great Northern beans. That may have been part of it. And then definitely boiling them for an hour last night and then letting them sit overnight in that hot water, I think probably helped a lot. And what I really like about these is it's not overly sweet. I think that the jalapeno probably helps that, and the bell pepper cuts out a little bit of the sweetness. So yeah, this is really good. Now one thing, I put a pretty big squirt of mustard in there when I was cooking it, and because I love mustard. So when you're doing it, if you're not really a mustard lover, you can either leave out that liquid yellow mustard or put maybe a 1/4 teaspoon. I probably put more like a 1/2 or 3/4 of a teaspoon. But yeah, this is great. Then what I'll show you tomorrow, I'll put at the end of this video, one of my favorite things to do with leftover baked beans is the old English tradition, beans on toast, which my dad used to make quite a bit. And so I'll probably have that for breakfast tomorrow, and I'll show you some photos of that. All right, so here's one of my favorite things to do with leftover baked beans. My version of the traditional English beans on toast. First thing I do, I've got this toast, and while the toast is warm, I'm gonna spread a little bit of horseradish sauce just to give it a little bite. And then again, while the toast is still warm, I want to put, I got just one slice of American cheese. I'll put that on there pretty quick so that the toast can kind of warm it, maybe melt it a little bit. And then what I'm going to do today is put some thinly sliced tomatoes on it. Now I will put on my warmed leftover baked beans. And aren't they really good leftover? They thicken up a little bit more and just have a much better taste. Oh, and by the way, I love baked beans leftover straight out of the refrigerator, cold. I think they're so good. That's what I like to have for breakfast, actually. And now what I'm going to do today, because I have some of this leftover crema mexicana, what I really loved when I made the Mexican street corn, and it's very liquidy. I'm going to drizzle a little bit on top. All right, let's give this a taste. This is so good. I love that horseradish on the bottom. Just gives it a little pep. Makes a fantastic lunch. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe to Ed Foodie right over there. Thank you.